Welcome back. I'm your host, Eddie Muller, taking a break from my roost at Bar 355 in Oakland. This July, I've got some stellar films for you on Noir Alley. Tonight's offering is not one of them. That said, there is plenty of fun to be had with This Side of the Law, a nearly forgotten 1950 film from the B Unit at Warner Brothers. Look at this. This film was so cheaply made they couldn't even afford a full-color poster. I'm joking, but only slightly. This Side of the Law was made in 1948 under the title Deadlock, but for some reason it wasn't released until 1950. I'm not entirely sure why, but it could be because the film bears more than a passing resemblance to another film released by Warner's in 1947, The Unsuspected, a top-shelf Michael Curtiz production made in partnership with the studio. Both films are set largely in shadowy mansions with plots involving the sudden reappearance of characters long missing. In this one, we know right away it's a ruse, and that our hero, played by Kent Smith, is a drifter hired to impersonate a missing millionaire. Not an uncommon plot in film noir, where lots of beleaguered men and women left destitute by the Depression or adrift in the war's aftermath get tangled up in nefarious plots just to earn some dough. Typically, the poor saps are used as pawns by affluent schemers angling to make themselves even richer. These tales tend to start with a, "How did I get myself into this scene?" And this movie has a great one, before they flash back to explain the protagonist's predicament. 9 times out of 10, the answer is, I needed the money. I mean, this is noir, after all. Why take a salaried job when you can get entangled in a complex, dangerous, and illegal scheme involving false identities and mix it up with a bunch of treacherous miscreants, any one of which is capable of murder? You'd have to be stupid, right? Well, the chump who's that stupid in today's film is played by Kent Smith. When this was shot in the fall of 1948, Smith was coming off his biggest success as the male lead in the 1947 hit Nora Prentice, another noir that turns on mistaken identity. Although he was the central character in that film, Smith was overshadowed by his co-star, Ann Sheridan. This was something of a pattern for the actor. Whenever he got more than a supporting role, Smith's average Joe persona barely registered opposite glam co-stars like Simone Simon in Cat People, Ann Sheridan in Nora Prentice, and Joan Crawford in The Damned Don't Cry. Here, Smith gets one of his biggest roles ever. He's in virtually every scene, and he's asked to hold his own opposite a couple of relative newcomers, Swedish import Vivica Lindfors and the versatile Janice Page. B-budget mysteries typically pack a lot of plot twists into a story confined to a few sets. That's the challenge neophyte screenwriter Russell Hughes faced in adapting The Doctor Deals in Death, a story by veteran pulp writer Richard Sale. Well, Hughes must have made some drastic changes, because there's no doctor in the final draft. Richard Sale began writing B pictures in the early 40s after spending the prior decade as a highly paid, relatively speaking, writer of pulp fiction. In Hollywood, he wasn't particularly ambitious or inventive, but he was prolific, turning out a steady stream of fodder for the bottom halves of double bills. His work got a big boost when he married writer Mary Luce, niece of the legendary Anita Luce, Hollywood's first female screenwriter. Mr. and Mrs. Sale co-wrote many of the films that he directed in the 1950s. Now, this was only the second feature directed by Richard L. Baer, although he'd made another 3 by the time this one was finally released. He was already well known at Warner's as the writer, producer, and director of the long-running Joe McDoakes series of comedy shorts. This assignment was a definite change of pace. Made in 1948, but not released until July 6th, 1950, 75 years ago today, here is This Side of the Law.